And welcome back. Well, thank you for staying with Business Today. And today we are talking about taxation and the effect that the 5% tax will have on content creators. And joining me is Butita, who is the CEO SPM Buzz Media Kenya. And we were talking about earlier on, before we went for break, we were talking about the startup and the whole idea of young people getting into the startup business. And let's move away from that and also look at now 5% tax on content creators, and every young person these days wants to make something from social media platform. How do you think this is going to affect content creation going forward?
No, first of all, it's everyone's obligation. We have to pay tax, all of us, which is something that I'm not against as a content creator.
Yes,
I support the idea. What I'm really keen on seeing is whether the industry will be enabled, and that's the conversation we've been having with the government, to see what areas as content creators do we feel like if we are assisted on those areas, we can be able to make more income based on what we are getting now. So those are things like monetization features, things like having proper avenues in terms of training, because we have all these platforms that are trying to give us opportunities on training. Like YouTube recently did the YouTube Black Fund, which was geared towards training content creators. So these programs and these things that can enable us make more money are the conversations that we've been trying to push for, to see if we can be able to get to fully maximize on the capacity of these platforms. Then it means we can make more income. And we have no problem if the governments take 5%, as long as the industry is being enabled. Because we also feel if the industry is playing a role and making the government get some percentage from it, then the government also can be able to see, okay, what do we need to grow it? What do we need to put hotspots everywhere? Like right now, there's a program by the government for putting 25,000 hotspots or 24,000. Such things will make the industry viable. Because yes, everyone wants to run to this industry. Everyone wants to give it a try. The question is that, is it welcoming? Are the systems functional, all of them? So I have no problem with the 5%, as long as we're enabling the industry. And so far we've raised issues about what we need in the industry, the content creation world. We've highlighted some of the key issues, and we are happy. At least some percentage of it has been solved, and we are towards having at least 70 or 80% being solved. So I feel like, yes, tax 5% sawa, tutalipa, but at least tuangaliwe zile maslahi zetu za content creation.
Okay.
So the whole confusion initially was about which 5% is being withheld.
Yes.
Because we have been paying withholding tax. When someone contracts me to do something with my content or market them, they deduct 5%. When you have a company that's under VAT, it's your obligation to pay the VAT. So we were really interested in knowing, is this a new thing that's being introduced that will be added to the previous ones? Or how are the previous tax brackets working? So we are still, that information is not yet clear. For now, what I hear is that it will be deducted from the money that we earn from social media platforms by putting content there, which you see, platforms they have their own deductions. Even the US government deducts tax from content creators earning from their platforms that are based in that country. Like, for example, Google and YouTube, there is a tax that we pay based on the US government deducts there. So I think that's where the entire conversation was supposed to be. Yeah, and well and good. We will follow the law. And we also want things that we're suggesting to be followed.
All right, and now still on this issue, for example, of course you've been in content creation for the longest time. You've been doing this for a very long time. So for example, let us look at a person who maybe now is getting into this, they're getting into it, maybe it's like their first year or the first months that they're getting into it, and then maybe they've not reached a point where they can make sort of a very significant amount of money, but still there's this 5% that is there. Okay, so they're looking at it from this side. Okay, I've joined this to make money, but now there's the 5% that is going to be deducted. Will this discourage someone from even continuing with such venture?
No, I don't think, because even if it was any other business, you'll still have to pay the taxes. So for me, this is how I'm looking at it. Is not 5% of zero. It's not a negative. It's 5%
of something.
Of something.
Yes.
So maybe if it's 5% of 50,000, it means that's 2,500, right? If it's 5% of 100,000, it's 5,000. So the more the figure, the more the 5%. The less the figure, the less the 5%. So for me, I feel any other business would still have that obligation. So the earlier we get to understand how we can work with that around, the better. Yeah. Or maybe just if the way they say when you're starting a business, you have some years that you might not be making profit, where your expenses are high. Maybe if they can, and that's the biggest problem in this country, tax education. Maybe if they can elaborate this income, this 5%, when you are filing your income tax, there's a way you file your expenses to a point, unapata maybe went for a loss.
Yes.
Like, how does it come back? Because we understand things like tax refunds. Or being in a position where when unadai serikali sasa kwa next mna subtract. That's the part that needs to be clear, tax education, because paying tax will still be there. But when you're making losses, and what there is a way you can declare that and submit that. So I think your party tax education is where we are failing as a country, because
so the awareness is clearly
tax is very
there.
crucial. Tax is a big issue, and me, I'm speaking on an individual capacity. I've faced that problem. There's a time when we found ourselves into different problems, because you realize you've been trading and there's some. You think that you're on the right books, but maybe there's some mistakes you're making.
Yes, just simply because you didn't understand.
Yes. The difference between someone who needs to pay payee and someone who is under withholding, who is really an employee or a contractor or someone who's been contracted. Tax education. So tax will still be there, whether you're starting business or you've been there. We need to be educated very well. We need to get that information. For now, all we can do is try and look for that information. But I think that's one thing the country needs to do. Just educate people at early stage, even at high school. I need to be introduced to this thing at an early age. Okay. Know how the refunds work, how the tax work even.
All right, thank you so much for that. And now let's move on and also look at these days everyone is doing skits on YouTube.
Yes.
They're doing they're looking into TikTok, doing skits on there. So how can someone monetize those platforms? Because earlier on people used to go for stand-up, where you started with stand-up, coming for shows, but now COVID sort of changed that whole idea, and now put the social media platforms, the digital platforms, into now a way of disseminating the information. So for example, how can these people who are doing the skits on YouTube, on these other platforms, monetize this in order for them at least now to go on with it?
If you look at all these platforms, they have different avenues of monetization. You look at Google, for example, YouTube, they have in-stream ads, the ads before the video, after the video, mid ads. They have super stickers, super thanks. They have premium subscriptions. All these monetization elements, for YouTube, if you reach 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours, you can access these features. So you open an account called AdSense, which acts as your wallet to collect revenue from YouTube.
Yes.
So the idea is to put in more content and be able to reach that requirement that they have. And after you reach that requirement, you'll start earning So you make sure all your monetization features are on. You can make through that. For Facebook, Kenya currently, we are still pushing for full monetization for the in-stream ads, but they have memberships. That is the one that has been working. But the process is ongoing. We are having that conversation. There's a role that the government needs to play. There is a role that Facebook has to play, so that all of us can benefit from that. So that one is only membership. TikTok, they have the live gifts, which when someone is live, you can be able to be gifted. Those gifts, they are money. You can be able to withdraw that later as money. When you are doing something on live and people gift you, reward you. And they have TikTok series, which also you can put videos and be able to make people access the videos at a fee. So you see all these options. And also there is B2C, I think peer-to-peer, where you put your Patreon details there, or mobile money details, and your fans can be able to support you direct. Yeah, it has been working for a lot of creators.
All right.
So this pool has an opportunity for making money, but the most important thing is put more content out there, so that you can attract numbers and be suitable for advertisers. Yeah.
All right. And also, with regards to the paying, the one that you've mentioned, where at least you pay for something in order for you to watch, the SPM buzz, I think there's a requirement that someone needs. For example, I have downloaded a video and I want to share it with someone, but the person who I'm sharing it with cannot really access that. They have to pay something. How did you manage to do that? Because most of the time you find, okay, I have downloaded the video, I share it to almost everyone. But here is a case where I download the video and maybe send the link to someone, but the person has to.
That's on-demand platform, which is separate from the platforms that are there.
Yes.
We've done that with TTNT, the comedy show that we did.
Yes.
The stand-up special for Jugush.
Yes.
For that, it's a separate platform. We have developers like there's a guy called Kanyi, who came up with this awesome idea of being able to protect content, because the biggest hurdle for content is piracy.
Yes.
You do that content and it's distributed for free, you don't make money. So for this case, he was able to customize these links in a way that if I pay it on this device, I can only watch it on this device. If I send it to you, then you have to pay it to watch that. And it's really working for us, because for the first time, you're able to distribute content at the click of a button and make money. So we feel like those are the channels we need to look into moving forward. Because for me, I'm looking at a point where 1 million people will be able to buy that content. So that's where we say, okay, it's now making sense. Yeah.
All right. Even as we wind up, now let's look at, of course, you ventured into Netflix and then you dubbed something for Netflix and into Swahili. In terms of this platform, when you look at Kenya, where are we in terms of dubbing this? Is it something that is popular, or it's something that we are still getting our foot into?
It's popular and we really need it as far as bridging content is concerned, so that we can be able to, it's advantageous in this way. We do content in Swahili. It can also be exported to other markets and be able to do well in those markets. Because we've been consuming Mexican things, they're now dubbing those things into English. Why not do the same for Swahili, dub with other nations? And why not do the same for contents that are big in other markets, so that they can be consumed here? Because we have people in Kenya, over 40 million people. Others prefer the Swahili nature of consumption. They want Swahili. So they wouldn't mind you translating a big movie into Swahili and localizing it. And we also wouldn't mind our local things to be dubbed and be played in other nations. So that is a market that has not been explored. And I feel like it's one big thing that's coming to happen. And my prayer is that platforms like Facebook, YouTube, I'm looking at a moment when Google introduced an option to add different audios into their videos. Because right now you can add subtitles. So I can be able to do a show and dub an English version of it and make it. That's the future. That's where we are heading to. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, Butita, for Business Today, and thank you for giving us your insights. Yeah, all right, now we've come to the end of Business Today. My name is Kelvin Yakundi. Today we've been talking about content creation and what the 5% taxation is going to have, the effect that it's going to have. Right, don't go too far. Mbiu ya KTN is coming up next.